Hong Kong, 1968. The city moves the way it always moves, which is to say without pause, without apology, without particular interest in the ambitions of any individual moving through it. The harbor is loud with shipping traffic, and the streets of Kowloon are loud with everything else. The vendors and the construction and the particular compressed energy of a city that has never had enough space and has decided to treat this as a feature rather than a problem. It is March. The air carries the specific quality of Hong Kong in early spring, warm enough to be without a jacket, but not warm enough to forget that winter was recent, and the humidity has already begun its annual return. That slow thickening of the air that residents accept as simply the condition of living here and visitors never fully adjust to. On a street in Kowloon, in a building that was once a textile warehouse and has been converted with minimal architectural ceremony into a martial arts school, Bruce Lee is teaching. The school is not large. The main training floor occupies what was the warehouse's central storage area, approximately 40 feet by 60 feet. Wooden floors worn smooth by years of feet moving across them in patterns that are not random. Along the walls, hanging bags, wooden dummies, training equipment arranged with the functional orderliness of a place where things are used rather than displayed. No decorative swords, no calligraphic scrolls proclaiming ancient wisdom, no photographs of famous masters in elaborate poses. The school looks like what it is, a working space where people come to learn how to move and what to do with that movement. Bruce Lee does not believe in decoration that substitutes for function, and the school reflects this belief in every detail from the placement of the equipment to the temperature of the room to the specific quality of attention he requires from his students when he is speaking. There are 28 students this Tuesday morning. They range in age from 19 to 34. Several have backgrounds in traditional styles: Wing Chun, Hung Gar, Northern Shaolin, one in Western boxing, two who came from karate schools in Japan before relocating to Hong Kong. What they share is not a style. What they share is the decision to stop learning a style and start learning principles. This distinction matters enormously to Bruce Lee, and he has explained it in the first session of every new student's training with the directness he applies to everything. A style is a vehicle. It takes you somewhere specific. Principles are navigation. They take you wherever the situation requires. The students who remained after hearing this explanation are the 28 who are here this Tuesday morning. The ones who needed the style more than the navigation found other schools. Bruce Lee is demonstrating a concept he calls the economy of motion, which is not really a concept, so much as it is an observable fact about how force is generated and delivered in the shortest possible time across the shortest possible distance. He is working with a student named David Chen, 23 years old, formerly of a Wing Chun school in the New Territories, who has been training with Bruce for 4 months and has progressed with the specific efficiency of someone who had good foundational training and the intelligence to let go of the parts that were limiting rather than enabling him. Bruce is explaining that the distance between the intention to strike and the delivery of the strike is where most practitioners lose the decisive advantage. That the tell, the preparatory motion that announces the attack before it arrives, is the single largest technical problem in applied martial arts. He demonstrates 3 times, slowly first, showing the tell and its consequences, then at full speed showing its absence. David receives the demonstration with appropriate seriousness. The other 27 students watch from their positions around the floor. It is during this demonstration that the door opens. The man who enters is named Sifu Wong Kwok-wai. He is 43 years old. He has been practicing Wing Chun for 26 years, the last 14 of which he has spent as a full instructor with his own school in the Mongkok district of Kowloon, where he has approximately 60 students and a reputation that extends well beyond his immediate neighborhood. In Hong Kong's martial arts community, which is smaller and more interconnected than outsiders assume, Wong Kwok-wai is known as a serious practitioner, technically precise, with the kind of deep structural understanding of his style that only comes from 2.5 decades of daily committed practice. He is 5 feet 10 inches tall and weighs approximately 180 pounds, solid and upright, with the specific physical quality of someone who has spent 26 years doing something physically demanding and has arrived at a body that is shaped entirely by that activity. He wears his school's uniform, a black kung fu jacket over black trousers, which, in the context of arriving unannounced at another instructor's school, is not a casual choice. The uniform is a statement. He is here as Sifu Wong, not as a visitor, not as a curious observer, as Sifu Wong. He has 2 of his senior students with him, both in their late 20s, both in the same black uniform, both carrying themselves with the specific posture of men who are here to witness something their Sifu has decided to do, and who expect the outcome to reflect well on their school. They position themselves just inside the door and remain standing. Wong Kwok-wai walks to the center of the floor without waiting for an invitation. Bruce Lee has stopped the demonstration. He is watching Wong cross the floor toward him with the expression of someone who is reading a situation accurately and completely, and is not in a hurry to respond to what he is reading. Wong stops approximately 8 feet from Bruce Lee. He looks at the students around the floor. He takes his time with this, the deliberate survey of a man who wants his audience to register before he speaks. Then he looks at Bruce Lee directly and says, in Cantonese, with the careful enunciation of someone who has been planning the words, "I have been hearing things about this school, that you teach something new, something better than what has been taught in Hong Kong for 300 years. He pauses. I came to see for myself whether this is true or whether it is simply what a young man says about himself when he wants students. The room is completely silent. 28 students are not moving. David Chen, who was mid-demonstration when the door opened, is standing exactly where he was standing, not quite sure what protocol applies to this moment. Bruce Lee has not moved either. He is listening to Wong finish. When Wong finishes, Bruce waits a further 2 seconds before responding. The 2 seconds of a man who is not surprised and is not rushing. "You're welcome to watch," Bruce says. His Cantonese is fluent, carrying the specific tonal qualities of someone who grew up speaking it. "If you have questions after, I'm happy to answer them." Wong's expression does not change. "I did not come to watch," he says. "I came to ask you directly, in front of your students, whether what you teach actually works against someone who has been doing this seriously for 26 years, or whether it only works against beginners." The implication is complete, and everyone in the room understands it. Wong is not asking a question. He is making an accusation and offering its resolution simultaneously. The accusation that Bruce Lee's school teaches theory that cannot survive contact with genuine experience. The resolution, a direct demonstration, here, now, with Wong as the test. It is done with the specific elegance of a challenge that is technically framed as a question, which gives Bruce the option of treating it as a question, answering it verbally, and declining the physical implication. Wong has done this deliberately. The framing gives Bruce the exit. Everyone in the room understands that taking the exit would be its own answer. Bruce Lee looks at Wong for a moment with the calm attentiveness of someone reading a document carefully before signing it. Then he says, "All right." One word. No elaboration, no conditions, no negotiation of terms. He turns to his students and tells them to move to the walls, giving the center of the floor. 28 students move with quiet efficiency. David Chen takes a position along the east wall. Wong's 2 senior students remain at the door. The floor empties. Bruce Lee and Wong Kwok-wai stand in the center of 40 feet by 60 feet of worn wooden floor, with 30 people watching from the perimeter, and the specific silence of a room in which something is about to happen that cannot be taken back once it begins. Wong settles into his Wing Chun stance with the ease of someone putting on a garment he has worn for 26 years. The stance is textbook, weight distributed correctly, centerline protected, hands at the precise positions that 26 years of muscle memory has burned into his nervous system at a level below conscious thought. It is a good stance. It is a genuine practitioner's stance, not performed for the room, but simply assumed, the way a person assumes their natural posture when no one is watching. Bruce Lee does not assume a particular stance. He stands in the relaxed, ready position that his students recognize, but that to an outside observer looks simply like standing, weight balanced, hands loose at his sides, nothing telegraphed. Wong reads this as either supreme confidence or the specific naivety of someone who has learned their system from books rather than from contact. He will have his answer shortly. Wong initiates. His opening technique is a chain punch sequence, the defining tool of Wing Chun's close-range arsenal. A rapid series of centerline punches delivered with the rotational power of the hips rather than the arm swing of Western boxing, capable of delivering significant force in the compressed space where Wing Chun operates. Against most opponents, this opening establishes the terms of the engagement immediately. Wong has used it 10,000 times. It has worked 10,000 times. He has refined it to a level of precision that most practitioners of his style never reach. The timing exact, the spacing correct, the commitment of force appropriate to the intent, which is not to injure, but to establish contact, to begin the conversation of the fight at close range, where Wing Chun speaks most fluently. It travels toward Bruce Lee's centerline with the confident speed of 26 years of daily practice. It does not arrive. What happens is this. Bruce Lee moves laterally at the precise moment Wong's chain punch commits, stepping outside the line of the attack by 4 inches, which is exactly enough and not 1 inch more. Efficiency being the principle that governs every decision. The step is not retreat. It is positioning. From the new position, outside Wong's committed center line, Bruce's right hand intercepts Wong's lead arm at the forearm, not blocking it with opposing force, but redirecting it past its intended target, using the momentum of the punch's commitment rather than meeting it. This takes approximately 1/3 of a second. In the remaining 2/3 of the same second, Bruce's left hand delivers a straight strike to Wong's exposed jaw, not at full power, contact sufficient to communicate the point without causing injury. Wong feels it. Everyone watching sees it. Wong's head moves with the contact. He steps back. The room does not react. Not yet. Wong is still standing. His expression is processing. He has been hit cleanly by someone who moved in a way he did not anticipate and did not have time to counter. This is new information. He incorporates it with the speed of a genuine practitioner who has enough experience to recognize when he has encountered something he has not encountered before, and he incorporates it without the ego-protecting delay of someone who needs a moment to pretend it did not happen. He resets his stance. His expression is different now from what it was 30 seconds ago. Not frightened, not defeated, recalibrating. He tries again. This time he adjusts the opening, varying the attack, using a technique that requires a different response than what Bruce used a moment ago. It is a genuine tactical adjustment, the kind that only someone with real experience makes in real time, not the repetition of what just failed, but an attempt to find a new angle. It is well executed. It would work against most opponents. Against most opponents with Bruce Lee's stated philosophy of intercepting rather than blocking, it offers a timing problem that should create hesitation. Wong has thought about this in the 2 seconds since the last exchange. He has identified the theoretical weakness in Bruce's response to his first attack. He is attempting to exploit it. Bruce Lee does not hesitate. He does not intercept this one. He is not there. The lateral movement is different this time, the angle different, the response completely unlike the first exchange, which is the point. The principle is not a fixed technique. The principle is reading and responding to what is actually happening, rather than applying a memorized answer to a memorized question. What is actually happening is that Wong has adjusted intelligently, and Bruce Lee's response has adjusted to the adjustment, staying 1 moment ahead of the prediction. This time the contact is a low kick to Wong's lead knee, again not damaging. The force calibrated to communicate without injure, and a simultaneous hand technique to the throat. Not contact, stopping 2 inches short, the implied conclusion of the technique clear to everyone watching. Wong steps back again. His breathing has changed, not from exertion, from the specific physiological response of a nervous system receiving information it did not expect, and at a rate faster than it can comfortably process. He is a genuine practitioner, and genuine practitioners can feel the gap between their preparation and what they are encountering. The gap is real. He can feel it. It is not a matter of being outworked. He is not losing because his conditioning is poor or his spirit is weak. He is losing because what he is encountering does not operate within the set of assumptions that 26 years of his practice has been built on, and the assumptions are being removed one by one with a precision that is almost impersonal. He tries 4 more times over the next 90 seconds, each time something different. Each time Bruce Lee's response is appropriate to that specific attempt rather than a general counter, adapted in real time to the specific geometry of each attack. The third exchange ends with Bruce's palm at Wong's jaw, stopped 1 inch short, the implication complete. The fourth ends with Wong's balance, compromised by a sweep he did not see, because his attention was on the hand technique that was designed to draw his attention precisely there. The fifth ends with Bruce, behind Wong's center line, in a position from which 3 different finishing techniques are available, and Wong knows it and stops. The sixth is the one that decides everything. Wong commits fully. It is the best he has. 26 years compressed into 1 technique. Everything correct. Timing good. Power genuine. The technique he has never seen successfully countered in 14 years of teaching. It travels toward Bruce Lee with the confidence of something that has always worked. Bruce Lee moves with it instead of against it, using the committed momentum rather than opposing it, redirecting the force in a direction Wong's stance is not prepared to accommodate, and in the moment of Wong's maximum commitment and minimum balance, applies a controlled throw that takes Wong's feet from the floor and deposits him on the worn wooden boards of the school's training floor with a sound that travels to every corner of the room. Wong is on his back. He is looking at the ceiling. He is not injured. He is completely conscious and fully aware of where he is and how he got there. Around the walls, 28 students are absolutely still. Wong's 2 senior students at the door have not moved. The room holds this for 3 seconds. 4, 5. Wong's breathing is visible, the chest rising and falling with the effort of the last 3 minutes, which contained more genuine martial contact than most practitioners experience in years of training. He is on the floor, and he knows exactly what it means that he is on the floor, and he is processing this with the specific quality of a man whose identity has been built on something for 26 years, and who is now required to update his understanding of what that something means. He sits up, slowly, without hurry, the unhurried motion of someone who is not trying to pretend that what just happened did not happen and is not rushing to escape the moment. He sits on the training floor with his legs crossed and his hands on his knees, and he looks at Bruce Lee, who is standing 2 feet away, having returned to the neutral standing position he occupies when he is not doing anything specific, and he says nothing for a long moment. The room says nothing either. Outside, Hong Kong continues being Hong Kong, indifferent to what has just happened inside this converted warehouse on a Tuesday morning in March 1968. Then Wong Kwok-wai does something that no one in the room expected, including Bruce Lee. He places both hands flat on the training floor and lowers his forehead to the back of his hands. The formal bow of complete submission, performed from the seated position, on the floor. Not a nod, not a verbal acknowledgement. The full gesture, held for 3 seconds, that in the language of this world means something specific and unambiguous. I was wrong. You were right. I am asking to be taught. It is the hardest thing a man with 26 years of identity as a teacher can do. It is also, in its way, the most honest response available to him. And Wong Kwok-wai, whatever his reasons for arriving the way he arrived, is a man with enough genuine integrity to make the honest response when the alternative is to pretend the floor did not happen. Bruce Lee looks at him for a moment. His expression does not carry triumph. It does not carry the specific satisfaction of a man who has proven a point he wanted to prove. It carries the quiet recognition of a genuine practitioner encountering another genuine practitioner who has just done something genuinely difficult, which is to revise a fundamental belief in real time in front of witnesses. He extends his right hand, open-palmed, not to help Wong up, but in a gesture of acknowledgement. "Get up," he says, in the tone of someone speaking to an equal. "You're a serious practitioner. What you did for 3 minutes, adjusting each time, reading the exchanges, that's harder than most people in this room can do. You adapted. That matters more than the style." He pauses. "If you want to understand why what happened, I'll show you. Not as a student, as a fellow instructor who deserves an honest explanation." Wong looks at the extended hand for a moment. Then he takes it and rises from the floor. He is not diminished. He is different. The specific kind of different that only happens when a genuine encounter forces a genuine revision. He straightens his black uniform and nods. "I would like that," he says. They spend the next 40 minutes on the floor together, Bruce Lee walking through each of the 6 exchanges in slow motion, explaining the principle behind each response, why each technique was chosen for that specific moment rather than another, what information Bruce was reading from Wong's body in the fraction of a second before each response. Wong listens with the complete attention of someone who has found a gap in 26 years of understanding and wants to know its exact dimensions. His 2 senior students have moved from the door to the wall, where the other students are seated, watching. The 28 students watch this secondary lesson with the specific fascination of people who are seeing something they will remember for a long time. At the end of the 40 minutes, Wong asks 3 precise technical questions about the redirectional principle Bruce used against the chain punch in the first exchange. Bruce answers each one completely, without abbreviation, without the kind of vagueness that instructors sometimes use to protect the sense of mystery around their knowledge. He answers as though Wong is capable of understanding the full answer, which he is. Wong listens to the third answer and nods slowly, the nod of someone integrating information that connects to things they already know in a way that changes the meaning of both. 26 years, he says, not quite to Bruce, not quite to the room. And I missed this. He says it without self-pity, as a straightforward observation about what can be missed when a framework becomes so familiar that it stops being examined. 26 years is also why you felt the difference so quickly, Bruce says. Someone with 2 years of experience doesn't feel it. They just fall down and don't know why. You felt the principle working on you in real time. That's harder, actually, and more useful. He says this without performance, the statement of someone who means it. Wong receives it in the spirit it is offered. At the door, before leaving, Wong turns to Bruce Lee and asks formally in the full traditional phrasing whether Bruce Lee will accept him as a student. Not a regular student, not someone attending classes. A student in the full sense of the word, which in this context means a commitment of time and ego, and the willingness to begin again from a position of not knowing, at 43 years old, after 26 years of knowing. It is a real request, and it costs something real to make it. And everyone present understands both of these things. Bruce Lee looks at him for a moment. Then he says, yes. One condition. Wong continues teaching his own school. His students need him. What he learns here, he brings back there. The transmission of something useful requires practitioners willing to transmit it. And a man with 60 students and 26 years of genuine foundation is exactly the kind of practitioner who can carry something new into a community that needs it. Wong agrees without hesitation. The arrangement is made in 30 seconds with no further negotiation required because both men understand exactly what they have agreed to. Wong Kwok-wai trained at Bruce Lee's school on Tuesday and Thursday mornings for the following 8 months, until circumstances related to Bruce Lee's increasing involvement in film work began to change the school's schedule. In that time, he did not miss a single session. He arrived first and left last. He asked more precise questions than any other student in the school, the questions of someone with 26 years of framework, trying to locate exactly where the new understanding fits and where it revises. Bruce Lee answered every question completely. 3 of the senior students at Wong's own school later said that their Sifu came back from Tuesday and Thursday mornings different in ways they could see in his technique, and more importantly in his teaching. A greater willingness to examine the assumption underneath the technique rather than simply transmitting the technique, a greater patience with students who asked why rather than just how. On the last Tuesday morning before the schedule changed, Wong arrived with a small gift, a traditional gesture of respect from student to teacher, and presented it to Bruce Lee before the other students arrived. Bruce accepted it with equal formality. They bowed to each other, the full formal bow between practitioners who have recognized something genuine in each other, and then they went to work on the floor for the last regular session. 2 men with different histories arriving at the same questions from different directions, which is perhaps the only way those questions can be properly examined. What happened that Tuesday morning, in March 1968, in a converted textile warehouse in Kowloon, was not, in the end, about who won. Both men knew this by the time the day was over. It was about what genuine encounter does when it is met with genuine honesty. Wong came with 26 years of certainty and left with something more valuable. 26 years of foundation, plus the specific knowledge of where that foundation ended, and something larger began. Bruce Lee came with a principle and left with a practitioner who would spend the next 8 months helping him understand that principle from the outside, from the perspective of someone encountering it for the first time, which is a perspective the originator of a principle can never fully have alone. Both men left with more than they arrived with, which is the only outcome that justifies a Tuesday morning in March.